Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unlocked Tuesday live stream. I am Jessie Lang, and I teach people how to buy 1 to 3 rental properties per month on autopilot. Today, we are talking about, drum roll, Pickles likes the drum roll, my book, Rentals Made Easy, that launched earlier this year. And we are going to talk about all the questions that you guys had over thousands of DMs, hundreds of conversations that built this book. I'm also going to give you all the details on a book signing party that we are having on this Friday. So just a couple days in Columbus. And I have a special guest with me today. I have my beautiful wife, Miss Laura Hansen. If you want to do a quick intro.
Hey guys, this is Laura. I know you don't normally see me on these things, but I'm here stepping in. I'm going to be asking the questions that Jessie gets all the time, and I will be asking on behalf of you guys. So just pretend I'm your little brain that has all these little questions, and I'll be asking Jessie so she can get us some answers.
Yeah, and Laura, you've actually asked me a lot of these questions over the years, so these came from you as well.
Just a reminder that these questions, these inspired the book. These inspired a lot of what Jessie has in the book. So, excited to learn more.
And if you guys don't know, I had real estate in my story. I owned real estate when Laura and I met 10 years ago. And so I came into this relationship guns blazing, like, let's build this portfolio. Yeah. And she's like, wait a second. I've never bought a house. I don't know about this. I don't really know what's going on. So if you're investing with a spouse and one's, you're gung-ho and they're maybe not, this is a really great resource to help them gain some confidence, because these are the same questions I answered for her over and over. So
exactly. Yeah.
All righty. Well, let's hop in.
All right. So one of the first big questions we get is, how do you find deals? It's a competitive market. How do you find all these deals without spending all this money on marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you think of a real estate investor, you may have the kind of "we buy houses" signs in your mind. And I know that you get a million calls every day, and you probably think that you have to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing. And I will say, to be the most competitive, you can and you should spend some money on marketing as you grow. But as you get started, you absolutely do not have to spend any money on marketing, because there are so many free and low cost lead channels out there. So I just want to kind of go over some of the top most common ways you can find deals without a ton of money to invest in marketing. So you may have seen, if you've heard of driving for dollars, that's a really good one. And that's actually how I started. I would get a clipboard. This is before there were even apps where you could drive for dollars. I would get my little clipboard. I'd go out in my little Prius and I'd drive these neighborhoods that I thought that I wanted to buy houses in. And if someone had tall grass, tarp on the roof, junk in the yard, it just looked like it was in disrepair, then we would mark that address down. I'd go home, I would skip trays, I'd call. I met one of the best sellers that I ever met over the years. I've ended up buying about 20 houses from them. I was driving for dollars and I cold called her, and we actually have probably a 6-year relationship now. And we bought quite a few houses. So you can find leads without spending a ton of money. The MLS is completely free. It is completely free to work with a real estate agent, where you can get set up on alerts or feeds where, you can target neighborhoods, target price points, target property types. And when something that meets that criteria hits the market, it's free. It's in your inbox. And you already know that that seller wants to sell because they listed their house. So that one's a no-brainer. What else do we have? Facebook Marketplace. That there's actually quite a few houses posted on there. For sale by owner type sign or type listings. Sometimes you'll see those on Zillow. What else? Another one is your own personal network. Your referral network. We actually just closed a deal. I think we're doing a case study on in the next couple weeks. We purchased it for 118 as a direct referral. We put about 60, 65 into it, and we sold it for 274. So after all said and done, yeah, we're looking at about a 60K spread. That is from someone that I worked with in the past who knew I bought houses because I'm very public about it online, sent me a deal, and here we are. So there are tons of resources out there without spending thousands of dollars a month in marketing.
Yeah, and that's another point that you usually talk about too is advertise yourself. Let people know that this is what you do, that you're looking for deals. Because some people, they may have a neighbor's, cousin that they heard and wants to sell their house, and that you guys can get connected. So that's a good shout.
Yep. And let your along those lines, when you're doing referrals, let your community know that you pay a fee. $1,000, $2,000, $2,500. I've seen referral fees up to $5,000 if it's a good deal. So me, if I'm your neighbor and I'm, working every day to pay my mortgage, and you tell me you're going to give me $2,000 just for connecting you with a seller, you better believe everyone I talk to, you want to sell a house, you want to sell a house, you want to sell a house, until they'll eventually bring you on. So you got to get the name, you got to get the word out there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next question.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. This one we hear a lot is, what's the difference between using a bank, a hard money lender, and a private lender? And when should I use each? Bless you.
My crazy cat is jumping all over the place. Okay. And I guess I should tell you, y'all, in the book, the last question we just went over, that's all in chapter 7, all about the buy. This question also in chapter 7. So chapter 7 is a big one. It's all about buying. So what's the
just to chime in, these are just little nuggets. The book goes in way more detail. You can get so much more information about all of these topics. So yeah,
exactly right. Okay, so question number 2, also in the buy chapter. What's the difference between a bank, hard money lender, private money lender? So a bank is going to be best for kind of your long-term your long-term loan on the backside, especially if you're burring a property. The idea, if you know burr, buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. So that's going to be the refi section. And so that's going to be your best bet for a long-term lender, a traditional bank. Now, a hard money lender is a specialized bank that they focus on investors. They focus on fast, short-term, fast as in short-term, typically higher interest rates. Now, my hesitation when I was starting, before I really hacked the burr method in January 2021, I was buying with traditional banks because I heard the interest rates for private money lenders, and I was like, me, I would never pay 10 or 12%. That's crazy when I can get 6%. I was missing the bigger picture. So these are designed to get you in and out fast. Now, it's a specialized loan type, and you're going to pay for it because you can walk into a renovation project with very, very little of your own money. A hard money lender is going to fund 90% of your purchase price. So you just have 10% down. They're going to fund 100% of your rehab cost. 100%. You are coming out of pocket $0 to renovate this property. So it is designed to do exactly what we're doing. And they're going to charge a higher rate for it. So it is an incredible tool. Now, really the holy grail is private money lending. And it's kind of the best of both worlds. In private money lending, I've done tons of trainings about. It's very relationship based. You can find this money from friends, family, coworkers, other real estate investors. And the idea is that, I may go to my, in-laws. We haven't done this, but I may go to my in-laws and say, We have this project. We are looking for $150,000 for 8 months. I will pay you 12%. You don't have to touch a thing. You can invest in real estate without lifting a hammer. All you need to do is log on, send a wire, and we're good to go. And so once you build those relationships, I'm able to close properties in 3 days, 24 hours. I mean, fast. And that makes my offers more competitive.
Right.
And like I said, relationship based, they trust you. They want to be in real estate, but they don't know how to be in real estate themselves a lot of the time. And you're paying them a good return on their money. Think about it. If your money is in a 401k, even in a great year, you're doing at 10%. But if you're averaging this out, maybe 6-8%. If you have the money in a money market, you're at kind of 4.5 right now. So you can offer them double-digit returns, and it's a win for them. It's a win for you. You close the deal fast. They make a good profit. Boom, boom, boom. You move on to the next one.
Yeah, and one thing that we've found is we've been so surprised that just there are a lot of people out there with just money just sitting in the bank that they want it to grow, but maybe they want to diversify a little bit. They don't want to just be in the stock market or whatever. And, or maybe they want to get into real estate investing, but they have no idea where to start. And so we can come in usually and say like, hey, you can make money in real estate, but you don't have to really do anything. Like we'll do all the work for you. So these guys are, usually the best bet.
Yeah, best bet. So banks are great for the refi. Hard money lender is a fantastic product for kind of more formalized lending. And then private money lending is the holy grail. You're going to get 100%, not always, but majority of the time we're asking for 100% of the purchase and the rehab. And we're closing in a matter of days. So kind of build upon those. And like Laura said, diversify. You don't want to only have private money. You don't want to only have hard money. You need all these options. And you build the relationships, and you keep them sweet. We like to say, keep them sweet, treat them well, pay them fast, and then you got a good relationship.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, next question is, how do I manage a renovation from out of state or while working full time?
Yes. Good question. This is going to be in chapter 8 of the book. We talk all about renovations. We go into managing the rehab process, payments, holding costs, preparing for residents. We go into everything. But this question specifically, how do I manage a renovation out of state while working full time? The best thing I can tell you is to hire vetted contractors using referrals, get multiple bids. You can't just go with the first one. If you married the first person you ever dated and it worked out, I would be very, very impressed, right? There are some high school sweethearts and like kind of love stories out there, but for the most part, you dated until you found the right one. And that is what we do in real estate when we're getting contractors. You got to check the references. You
got a lot of money on the line, so you got to pick it right.
Yeah, exactly right. And one thing that I always recommend to students, and we talk about in the book, is referrals. I am not looking like, say I'm on, shout out to Foundations First, is a big real estate investor Facebook group here. You probably have one in your market as well. You go on, you say, hey, I'm looking for a basement company. And 5 people who have basement companies, they raise their own hand. You're like, great, cool. I would love to talk to you. Now you have, say, 5 other investors who all point to the same basement company. Which one do you think you're going to go with?
Yeah.
The one that's getting that third party referral, not just raising their own hand, but that verification from someone who's used them. They're on time. That they have fair pricing because this is a group for investors. So you got to hire vetted. You have to hire vetted. You cannot just hire the first person you talk to off the streets. You have to create a clear scope of work that is tied to payments, tied to milestones. We have We have what we call the final payment checklist, and I will not release a final payment to any contractor until every single item on that list is accounted for.
And they know that. So they know that they got to get all that stuff done. Right.
Yep. And we have a written scope. We have an itemized scope. I have people, we have a shameless plug. This is Rentals Made Easy, the book. I have Rentals Made Easy, the mastermind. I look at students' deals every single week. Every Thursday, we do a deal analysis. I have students who will bring me a scope of work from a contractor, and it's one number. This is $40,000. And I'm like, no, it's not. You take that back. We need this itemized. We need it. Is it labor and materials? How many people are going to be on site? There's just so much more that goes into it. So you have to tie the payment to things actually being done. Mm-hmm. Do not pay a deposit. I do not care. Any contractors listening to this, you're going to be mad at me. We, in our community, do not pay deposits. It has backfired too many times. I will pay a contractor the second the work is done, but I will not pay them anything ahead of time. Okay. Very important. Require weekly photos, video updates. Because remember, you're not there. I want to caution, they can submit photos. They can submit these videos. That does not replace having a boots on the ground, also there on your behalf. This is someone who represents you, your eyes, your ears. There is no question of a conflict of interest. None. We're flipping a house down in Texas. I think you guys know that was my best friend's house growing up. I grew up on the same street. Her parents reached out and said, hey, I know you buy houses. This is in Texas. Would you do this? And normally I would say no, but I went for it. And I have my cousin who also lives down in Austin. She goes every single week. She sends me, she uploads photos to a folder. She uploads any questions, or, she lets me know, hey, this doesn't look quite right, anything like that. So I even myself on my remote project have a boots on the ground. You have to have someone who only represents your eyes and ears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And usually, if you don't know anyone in the area, a real estate agent is usually happy to do that. I mean, obviously you'd want to pay a fee or something like that, but if anyone, they're probably one of the better ones to ask because they have the eye for some of those certain details for construction and whatnot. So yeah, boots on the ground. That's a great tip.
Yep. Got to have it. And that person is someone that you are going to build a strong relationship with over years. It's not someone that you want. I mean, if you're only doing one project, yeah, of course, but this is someone that can be literally your boots on the ground, right? Your eyes, your ears. I've said that a few times. It's so important.
Yeah. I want to go back to your point that you made about paying, not paying a deposit for these contractors. And one thing that we found is if these contractors can't get the work started without any money, then that's probably a little bit of a red flag that they don't have any money to begin with. So yeah, if they have enough of their own capital to get something started and they don't have to wait on you, that's probably a good sign that they can do good business. So
yep. Yeah. Cause Laura, good point. And you as a graphic designer, you went to art school and we always joke like in art school, they teach you art. No. They teach you the business behind being an artist, and contractors often overlook that. They know how to swing a hammer, but they don't know how to run a business. And they have every good intention, but they can get themselves in trouble by just not understanding that part of it. And so you have to understand that they also can run a business, and cash flow, managing their own cash flow is a pretty key point there.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Next question. Let's see. What screening process actually works to avoid problem residents?
Oh, yes. We say that one bad resident can make or break your career, and they can make or break your cash flow big time. So that question we cover in chapter 9, which is all about rent, screening applicants, applicant scorecard, fair housing. We go over every single thing that you need to know on how to how to get rented. So this question in particular, how does the screening process actually work? So for us, we require a completed application, and there is an application fee. We use Zillow.com. It is industry standard. If a resident does not, or I'm sorry, if an applicant does not like our unit for some reason, they can use that same application at hundreds of other units across Zillow. So it's really low hanging fruit in convincing someone to do an application prior to seeing a unit, which is what we do. We do not show unqualified people application or properties. You're going to be running across town like a crazy person. So we just don't do that. So you got to get that. You got to get the application first. If they go see the unit and if they like it, then we do what we call like a kind of a bigger check. We're verifying their income, not just, hey, here's a pay stub, because there's a lot of pay stub generators out there online. We're calling, we're submitting, some HR policies will require like disclosure basically. And so we're doing all of that work. We're checking the credit history. We're looking into on-time payment history percentage. We're calling references from the past housing provider. We're asking, would you rent to them again? Did they pay on time? How many late pays did they have throughout this lease? What were the time frames? We're making sure that what the housing provider is telling us is the same as what the applicant is telling us. And you'd be surprised how many times that actually does not line up. There's some funny business going on. So we dig into all of that. We manually check eviction records. A big one is if someone needs to move quickly and their Zillow evictions look clear, right? It's like, oh, they don't have any. It's because they're in the middle of an eviction right now and it hasn't hit their Zillow record yet. So we do a manual check there. And we stick to our criteria. That is such a big one. If you start making exceptions for this, that, or the other, you are getting into fair housing territory where you are not treating everyone the same. You could really get yourself into some trouble. So we set our criteria. We publish it in the listing. We publish every single detail of what they're going to need to know about the lease in the listing, and we stick to it. You cannot let a good story override bad data. I promise you that you're going to hear a lot of stories.
Yeah. And one of the things you go into a lot in the book is the applicant scorecard, which I think has been a game changer because it kind of takes the emotion out of it. It puts all of this data into one sheet and it gives the applicant a score, and you can kind of weed out the ones that don't meet the right score, and then also have some like tit for tat, apples to oranges things to compare to. Yeah. Another thing I want to add too that we look out for is, are they a good communicator through the application process? If they're slow to respond, or they're a little flaky, or stuff like that, then you automatically know. Or if they can't follow direction, like if you say, hey, we need this, this, and this, and they don't respond with any of that, then that's kind of a red flag for us that they may be trouble down the line. So,
or if they're rude, if someone's rude to you, you think you want to get into a year-long relationship with this person? No, don't be silly. No, we don't do that. So all good things to look out for. Laura, great addition as usual.
Okay, next question that we get is, what's the safest way to scale without over leveraging?
Yes. Yeah. And that is a big one because I hear, a lot, especially if you don't have any rentals quite yet, there's that hesitation. There is really the fear of the unknown. And one thing that you can do to give yourself more confidence is you make sure that you're buying right and that you're not over leveraging. So this we cover in chapter 11, which is all about the repeat. It's the last little R, the last little piggy that always gets left off, and people forget about repeat. But there's a lot of steps in there, and one of them is making sure that this property kind of worked out numbers wise the way it was supposed to, so that you can go and do it again and again and again. If you don't check these things and you go do it again and again and you had a mistake in there, you're going to just amplify and multiply that mistake. So we follow the 70% rule, where we want our purchase and rehab combined to be under 75% of the after repair value. When I'm underwriting a property, I can see how much will it be worth once it's fixed up. Say it's $200,000. I want to be all in for $150,000. Now, all in is purchase, rehab, and holding cost. I need that to be at 75%, but that's why we underwrite purchase and rehab at 70%, because we leave that 5% for holding costs, any overages that may happen. It's just kind of a buffer. So when you're underwriting where you're 75% leverage, that is 25% equity in a property where you have none of your own money in there. And so that's a pretty safe position. Now, I have a lot of students who are more comfortable at 60%. They don't want to leverage over 60%. Totally fine. That is a personal kind of risk tolerance. The higher the percent, the riskier it is, right? Because if you're leveraged at 75%, you need to sell for some reason. Even if the markets come down 10%, you now only have 15% equity. You're going to pay your commissions, all that. So just keep in mind, the higher your leverage, the riskier the deal. We also recommend keeping 6 months of reserves on the property. Now, reserves is any ongoing expense. This is your mortgage payment, taxes, insurance, if those aren't escrowed, lawn care, HOA, whatever is tied to that property. We recommend keeping 6 months reserves. Once you get up to scale, that's a lot of money. That truly is a lot of money. But it's something that is going to keep you safe.
Mm-hmm.
Only pull out enough money to fund the next deal. If you can be cash flow positive and you're comfortable with your cash flow and you're at 60% leverage, that's going to keep you safer. So that's kind of the first point. And then ensure that every property cash flows from day one. I know I talk to a lot of people. I know that there's some folks out there who are buying on negative cash flow because they're buying on appreciation. Now, we buy, Laura, why do we buy real estate? Is it for today or is it for the future?
Future,
baby. It's good today. Cool. It's fine today, but it is truly for the future and the wealth building. That said, I can't lose money every month. That's crazy. So we still are underwriting at, 100, 150 a door, depending on the neighborhood. That's after I account for my CapEx, my maintenance, my vacancy reserves. I pull that to the side, and that's still what I want to cash flow. So it's not going to change your life, but it's still positive. It is still a positive number. So that's going to keep you safe as well. And then only grow at a pace where you can uphold quality and systems. If you're feeling out of control, that is not going to serve you long-term. That's not going to serve anything. I know I come on here every single week and I'm like, buy 1 to 3 rentals a month. And that's what I do. That's what a lot of our students do. But not everyone in our community is doing that. Some people are buying 5 to 8 a year and they're perfectly comfortable, perfectly happy. That's what they can manage, balancing a full-time job.
Right. And the other thing to keep in mind too with that point is you are providing housing for people. So if you start to feel out of control and you start to maybe, miss maintenance requests and like not be as attentive to your residents, that's unfair for them. That creates a negative, persona about you and therefore your business for future. So yeah, go at your own pace. That's what we always say.
Yeah. But if you build your system and build your team and you want to go fast, you're in a place where you can go fast. You just got to make sure that you're in control. Because remember, the original question was, what is the safest way to scale without over leveraging? That's over leveraging your time. It's not only money. You can't over leverage your time, right? So just go at a pace that makes sense for you.
Yep.
All right. Last but not least,
do I need to wait until the market is right to invest?
Whew, okay, well, I will see you in 10 years from now because the market will never be exactly right. There's always going to be something. That we cover in chapter 6, which is all about establishing the essentials. We pick our market, we determine our buy box, we get our entity set up, we do all that. And this is the foundation that your business really is built on. And so there is no right market. Sometimes, remember COVID, rates were so low, right? We're in the 2-3%, but competition was through the roof. So people were overpaying. Okay, now rates are a bit higher. We're in a buyer's market here in Columbus and a lot of the United States. You actually, we're seeing more price reductions from sellers than we've seen in the last minimum 5 years, and probably before that as well. So there are never going to be the exact right set of factors. You buy when you are ready. The best time is when you have the knowledge, you have the financing, and you have a deal that fits your buy box.
Yep.
Period. You talk to go out. I challenge anyone watching this, go out and check some of the local investor groups and check out the real big guys. They're all buying. Even though the market sucks, we are all buying. So we just keep buying because remember, we're looking at a long-term point of view. I'm planning for 10, 15, 20 years down the road. It needs to make sense today, but I'm buying for the future.
Yep. Yeah. So. And that isn't to say to just go buy, because you gotta, if the numbers are right and we're still finding deals where the numbers are right, like, yeah, go for it. Still buy it.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you are sitting on the sidelines and you're waiting for rates to drop, so is everyone else. Yeah. And when rates drop, competition's going to go up and you're going to net out at the exact same place because you're going to overpay. And even though even though the interest rate may be more desirable, your mortgage payment's going to be the same.
Right. So, and in that time, you've missed out on a year, 2, 3 of appreciation. Yeah. So
our financial planner, and you've probably heard this, but he says it a lot. It's time in the market, not timing the market. If you try to time the market, you're never going to make it. If you buy today, what's the other one? You don't wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate and wait. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good one. So the time is whenever you're ready. If what you think you are missing is knowledge, financing, and a deal that meets your buy box, we got a lot of that information for you. This is not a fluff book. I think you've seen here what we've been talking about. Like, I'm giving you practical, tangible, step-by-step advice on all of these topics, plus so much more. Yeah. So we cover how to pick the right market, avoid the wrong one, building your team of contractors, lenders, agents, renovation decisions that add the most value. I see so many people over renovate on their rentals and you don't have to do it. Refinancing process, the systems that we use to self-manage. So we go all into rent collection, maintenance requests, proactive inspections, eviction process. If you dreaded, hopefully you don't have to do it, but you probably will at some point. Protecting your assets, how to structure your business entity, understanding the 5 profit centers. Like I said, it's not only cash flow. There are so many other benefits to owning real estate. Managing multiple exit strategies, how to balance automation with personal touch. We cover all of it in this little book right here.
You could literally not know anything about real estate and read this book and walk away with such an incredible foundation, I think. I mean, as we mentioned at the beginning, when she first started, I was like a little wary. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get on board. And when she explained all these things to me, I feel so much more confident in all this stuff now. I'm not as involved as you are the day to day, but you asked me a question and I feel like I can confidently answer.
I mean, babe, you crushed this live stream. So you definitely, and you know it too. So y'all, that's all here. If you want to take it one step further, we have the mastermind that takes this and you work with me and we kind of work together to put it in place for you. But if you just want a high level overview, this is a fantastic spot. So we have copies on Amazon. We sell on Amazon. I'm going to drop the link into the comments. So let's post this up here. I know that looks kind of funky, but it's there. So Amazon, you can also just search Rentals Made Easy. It is on Kindle version. I'm a Kindle reader, or you can get the paperback. And then to take it one step further, so many people have asked me for a signed copy. So we are actually doing a live in-person book signing this Friday. It's August the 8th from 3 to 6 p.m. It's at the PM Title in Grandview. And it's kind of like an open house, you could say, if you want to use real estate terms. So you don't need to stay the whole 3 hours by any means, but stop by. We'll have some, cookies and some light beverages and all that. Grab your signed copy, come say hi. Would love the support. Everyone throughout this process has been so incredibly supportive. I knew I wanted to write a book. I did not know everything that went into it until I started doing it. So thank you to Laura. Thank you to Lizzie. Thank you to Selena on my team. Thank you to everyone who helped proofread, who helped write testimonials, who were the awesome students whose stories are in this book as well. It's not just my learning, it's students' learning as well. So grab your copy online or come grab a copy in person this Friday. We have it. Let me post the event link. If you guys want to RSVP here so we know how many people are coming, that would be awesome. Okay. Well, very cool. I appreciate y'all, and we will see you next week.